Welcome! Today, we're exploring a fascinating and vital movement, how Indigenous communities are using maps and technology to reclaim their stories and rights. This is often called countermapping. For centuries, maps have been tools of power, frequently reflecting colonial perspectives and erasing Indigenous presence. Countermapping flips this on its head. It involves Indigenous communities creating their own maps that showcase their unique knowledge systems, traditional land ownership, cultural heritage, and historical narratives. These aren't just lines on paper. They are powerful declarations of self-determination, allowing communities to represent their own deep understanding of and connection to their lands. A core part of this movement is Indigenous data sovereignty. This is the fundamental right of Indigenous peoples to control how data about their lands, resources, and communities is collected, who owns it, and how it's used. It's about taking back control of their information. As geospatial technologies, think digital mapping, 3D modeling, and web-based platforms, become more sophisticated and easier to access, Indigenous communities are skillfully using these tools. They're preserving their heritage, managing their natural resources effectively, and making their presence and rights clearly visible on a global stage. However, it's not always a straightforward process. A significant challenge is that current technologies often prioritize digital data about Tamsa space, rather than deeply understanding Indigenous knowledge Tamsa place. This can unintentionally reinforce a single, dominant worldview, overshadowing the rich and diverse ways Indigenous peoples understand their environments. There's a growing recognition that we need geospatial tools that can respectfully incorporate and manage access to Indigenous knowledge, ensuring technology supports diverse ways of knowing, instead of trying to absorb them into one mold. To address this, there's a lot of work being done to develop frameworks and protocols that align geospatial practices with Indigenous data governance. Principles like CARE, which stands for collective benefit, authority to control, responsibility, and ethics, and OCAP, representing ownership, control, access, and possession, are guiding lights. These principles ensure that data is used ethically and that Indigenous communities are central to any decisions made about their information. The ultimate aim is to move beyond just adopting new technologies. The goal is to foster what's called a virtuous ecosystem. This means that the value generated from Indigenous knowledge and its digital representation flows back to the communities themselves, supporting their livelihoods, cultural continuity, and self-governance. This includes actively working to decolonize maps by acknowledging Indigenous experiences and exposing underlying colonial structures. It's about linking the art and science of mapmaking with social and environmental justice. As Indigenous communities continue to innovate in digital geographies, they are not only reclaiming their rightful narratives about their lands and histories, but are also reshaping how technology can serve cultural preservation and self-determination for all. It's a powerful shift, and one that truly redefines the map.